knife that I can think of
more
that would actually
easy
come
in the
close
shape
to the
too. As I had before, I would write it the correct opinion, and facts didn't change, my opinion didn't change. So, fixed blades versus folders. And some people are folder knife people, like a folding knife guy, they prefer a folding knife. If you want to get a knife, they're looking for a folder. And some people are fixed blade people, and I belong to that category. So in my view, a fixed blade knife beats a folding knife 9 out of 10 times. Why? Okay, why do I prefer a fixed blade knife, and why do I believe that a fixed blade knife is better than a folding knife 9 out of 10 times? For 9 out of 10 people, 9 out of 10 purposes, it's going to be the better knife design, type of knife, a fixed blade. A fixed blade beats a folding 9 out of 10 times. One argument that I've heard is, well, a knife, folding knife is the most curable knife. Well, you can find a fixed blade knife that suits your individual needs. That is a fixed blade knife. So whatever, if somebody comes, like, well, I need a fighting knife for self-defense that's easy to conceal and carry. There's a fixed blade knife that fits that bill, like that job description. There's a small enough fixed blade knife to be easily, readily concealable, readily carryable, light and small enough to be able to carry it at ease, okay? Light and small enough to be able to carry in this way, that way, multiple carrying options, concealed or not. There's gonna be a fixed blade knife that you can carry concealed, have it on you without it being too heavy or too big to be able to carry it around. So it's like, well, it's like a fixed blade knife is easy to conceal, and I want a fighting knife to have all metal ties. Well, there's a fixed blade knife that fits that bill, that description. You can get a fixed blade knife that's small enough to conceal and carry in this way, that way, around the neck, in a pocket, in a boot, what have you. So a folding knife shines. I saw a guy recently on a YouTube short, so this is why I'm talking about this. I'm stimulated by that. It's like I tell people all the time that a folding knife is the most carryable knife design. Well, if you're judging by length of blade contrasted to compacted size, okay? Meaning, here's the total package size, how small the folding knife is compacted folder. Contrasted to length of blade and like total package length while deployed. Yeah, the fixed blade knife would win. Meaning, the folded knife is this tall, unfolded it's this tall, so you have this length of weapon post deployment. The folded knife would win. Because if you can get a whatever you want, a Bowie knife, a Tanto knife, a dagger knife, and it's like I want a X-inch blade, 15 centimeters, let's say. And I want, okay, now with the handle and the blade being 15 centimeters, it's gonna be this tall, okay, which will limit your carrying options and make it harder to carry, harder to conceal and things like this. But it's going to be a knife, fixed blade knife, that's small enough to carry in your pocket, see? Just normally in your pocket, how you slide your phone into your pocket, you slide the fixed blade knife into your pocket, it's in there, or you need to put your hand in your pocket and pull it. There's gonna be a knife that's small enough for whatever need. Someone's like, well, I'm an outdoors guy, I need a knife for the outdoors that has a long blade so I can have a long blade, but I need it to be small. Well, you can find a fixed blade knife that's small enough to carry with you into the outdoors, while being big enough to be able to use for chopping and cutting string and sharpening sticks and whatever else you might need to do in the woods. So it's more of a taste thing than a need thing. Anybody's like, well, I need this knife for this. There's gonna be a fixed blade knife that does the job. See, I need a knife that can do this. Okay, there's gonna be a fixed blade knife that fits the bill that can do it. There's going to be a fixed blade knife. What about a fighting knife? There's going to be a fixed blade fighting knife. It's like, well, I'm a guy looking for a self-defense knife that I can have on me at all times. That will be an effective weapon if I need to fight somebody with my knife. Okay. A Bible local law of self-defense use weapons at all times. Well, there's going to be a fixed blade knife that's small enough for you to carry, conceal easily. That's big enough to be a problem. See, that's big enough to be an effective weapon. Small enough to be carried, big enough to be an effective weapon. Simply that. There's going to be a fixed blade knife. For every use you can bring up. Like, well, what about an outdoors knife? I need a knife that has this long of a blade for chopping, but still being small enough so I can carry it into the woods or something like this. There's going to be a fixed blade knife that has long enough for a blade where you can chop with it, while still being small enough that you can carry it, even conceal it if you want to. So, my opinion hasn't changed, and I'm a fixed blade guy. I prefer fixed blade knives, no matter what brand it is. Meaning, Cold Steel, I believe that they have fixed blade folding knives that are like really strong and stand out in competition, like how strong the folding knives are. Because folding knives are known to not be as strong as fixed blade knives. Now, even a company that, from my research experience, has higher quality, stronger folding knives, I would still pick a fixed blade over the same model in a folding version, which they have. Like maybe a Recon Tanto comes in a folding, the same blade, only in a folder and a fixed blade. I'm gonna pick the fixed blade, whatever the model is. Personally, it's more like a taste issue. So my argument is fixed blade knives beat folding knives 9 out of 10 times. Okay. For 9 out of 10 people, 9 out of 10 times, you're better off getting a fixed blade. Okay. So, what knife do I have in my pocket right now? It's a Cold Steel mini dagger. It's light enough and small enough for me to end up having on my person and like forget that I have it until I say, oh, I need a knife. Oh yeah, I have one. Okay. See, you remember it if you need it. But it's small enough, light enough to like you end up not thinking about having it. Whereas some fixed blade knives and knives in general in folders can be so heavy, cumbersome, and big that it's like you constantly mind that you lug around a knife. It's like it's weighing down one side of your pants, so it's like you have weight on the right side and it's rubbing and it's coming out and things like this. So a Cold Steel mini dagger is a good knife. Small enough to be an effective weapon. Instrument of death. Okay. It's small enough to be carried, see? So it's like it's hard to justify like I need to get a folder. Because why it's smaller, this compact, like the total package size. Well, this is a fixed blade knife that's small enough for me to carry it no matter what I'm wearing. Light and small enough, while being big enough to be a problem, to be an effective weapon, big enough to be an effective weapon in a knife fight, if I need to. So, fixed blades beat folders 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times. I have one of these trolls in the chat, can get blocked. Share the shark music playing when you write these comments. That's silly stuff. Oh no, you got me blocked now. It's like I'm starting to feel really bad and I'm worried. It's okay. The trolls say, oh no, okay. So, fixed blades versus folder. Theory and practice. A fixed blade knife is going to beat a folding knife 9 out of 10 times. So what I need a fighting knife, whatever you use. I need an outdoors knife for the woods that's big enough, has long enough for a blade for chopping activities. Okay. Length and heftiness of blade lends itself to chopping. So for a chopping knife, you're going to chop down small trees or branches, chopping. Typically, you want length of blade coupled with weight of blade. Yields good chopping ability. Meaning you want some weight as you're chopping. So what makes a good chopping knife? length of blade coupled with weight of blade. So you want a weightier blade. You don't want the lightest knife you can if you want to be chopping with it. You want to have some weight for the chopping. And you can find a fixed blade knife that can do that job while being small enough for you to carry it into the woods. And if someone said, well, I need a fighting knife for self-defense that's an effective weapon, but easy to carry. So I like a folding knife. You don't need a folding knife for that. There's got to be a fixed blade knife that's light and small enough to carry while being big enough to be a problem, to be a functional weapon, an effective weapon. So, fixed blades versus folders. A fixed blade knife beats a folding knife 9 out of 10 times. And even companies that are known for producing stronger than a lot of competition, like Cold Steel, which are known for making fixed blade knives, and they demonstrated with the torture test, like putting a vise and bending it and showing that the locking system works. Even with the best constructed locking system, I believe that the fixed blade version of the folding knives is going to be stronger than the folding versions. Now, stronger doesn't mean that the option compared to is weak, okay? So even if you have the strongest strongest folding knife design, I believe that the same knife by the same company in a fixed blade version is going to be stronger, okay? Here's another advantage of fixed blade knives. First of all, less moving parts, okay? Murphy's Law. If something can go wrong, there's 10 different parts having wear and tear. One of these things, there might be a type, an amount of wear and tear that makes it fail. So a folding knife, and this is general, a truism when it comes to firearms, knives, whatever, less moving parts, simplicity. A folding knife is simpler. It's a piece of steel attached to a handle, see? It's also a closed system, see? It's a closed system. A fixed blade is a closed system. So if they had this knife in a folding version, and it folds and it becomes the length of the handle also, compacted, it'd be an open system, see? Where you're gonna have parts where dust and dirt can get in, see? So it's harder to clean it. A fixed blade is a simple design, it's stronger, easier to maintain, harder to mess up somehow. Meaning if you have a folding knife, there's going to be internal components. They need to move the way they were designed to, uninterfered with. And since a folding knife is an open system, a twig could get into the system and interfere with some of the internal mechanisms, like things that had to move moving parts. This moves here, clicks into place, and stuff like this, like hinges and stuff. So less moving parts, it's a closed system. The only moving part is the sheet that you detach, okay? That's the only moving part. So this is a closed system. There's no opening on the side where a twig or a small pebble or mud or anything you get into. So things getting into the system can interfere with the opening and closing of the knife. And it also makes it hard for you to clean it. Meaning if you're using the knife, you get, you're using it to open a hot dog pack in your kitchen, the folding knife. And a piece of hot dog gets into the handle, it will rot and smell. It'll be harder to clean it. So a fixed blade knife is easier to clean, it's stronger, and you can find a fixed blade knife that will get any job done that you need done. If that's outdoors work, if it's a weapon knife, it doesn't matter. A fixed blade knife is superior to a folding knife 9 out of 10 times. And as far as I'm concerned, the size advantage, and the advantage being how small it is while compacted, is not worth it, understand? It's like a folding knife is smaller, but the advantage in a smaller package while folded is not worth it. Like the loss of simplicity, the loss of like ease of maintenance, and the potential loss of reliability and strength. So a fixed blade knife is also simpler. It's a simpler deployment process, as far as I'm concerned. And 9 out of 10 times, it's harder to deploy a fixed blade knife, which you might not understand until you have like a high stress situation with fight flight mode, high cortisol activated. So a lot of folding knives will require fine motor skills. It's like small, it's like having to like get your nail in a little hole and pull on it. Like this, like a little crevice, this little opening in the blade. You have to get your thumb in there and pull. So it's like pull, get the thumb in a certain spot and here, or like on a thumb stud. So it's a more, meaning it's like pull, flick of the wrist to deploy. Whereas with a folding knife, pull, and the next action is push into your body. If somebody's in front, you need to stab them. See? So it's a simple deployment process where if I have my hand on the handle, all I need to do is pull, the weapon is free, and the next movement can be pushing forward. Whereas if it's a folder, it's pull out of pocket, flick of the wrist, it's deployed. See? So a fixed blade beats a folder. A fixed blade beats a folder 9 or 10 times. And would I mind a folding knife? Is a folding knife bad? No, but a fixed blade is better 9 or 10 times. Okay. So a fixed blade beats a folding knife 9 or 10 times. And so, well, a folding knife is smaller. Is that more careful? Well, if you're measuring length of blade contrasted to the metric of total size while compacted and folded, the folding knife wins. I mean, if you like, this length of blade is what I want. How big is the package? And I want to be as small as possible while folded. Total package, yes. To have a knife in your hand, there's this length of blade, total length this in your hand, contrasted to how small it is being carried. A folding knife wins, okay? Meaning non-deployed size of package, total package. It's gonna be smaller for a knife, obviously. The point is this: there is a fixed blade knife that's gonna be small enough to be readily carryable. It's like, how could you justify like this is too hard to carry? It's too big and too heavy. No, it's gonna be smaller than most folding knives. And it's gonna be light, okay, light enough. So this is a fixed blade knife, and a fixed blade knife can be small enough and light enough to be readily carryable, easily concealable, while also being big enough to be a problem, meaning big enough to be an effective weapon post-deployment. So small enough to carry, light enough to carry, have it only when you need it, but liking a lot of weight, and big enough to be a problem. So this is a good knife. So instead of getting a folder for a fighting knife, I'd rather get a small fixed blade knife. And it's small enough for me to carry it, no matter what I'm wearing. And it's big enough to be a problem in my hands. It's big enough to go deep enough in the body to cause serious damage with thrusts. It has laceration edges. It has sides that are sharp, and you can cover it. It's big enough to be an effective fighting weapon, instrument of death, while being small enough to be carried on at all times. Small, light enough. As a matter of fact, how I carry this, or was carrying this tonight, is inside of my sweatpants pocket. And see, so it's so small that I can carry the sweatpants pockets without even protruding out. And it's light enough where, as luck would have it, I don't even have the string in there. So this is sweatpants that came with a string, and I lost the string. So it's just the sweatpants. And it's light enough, small enough to fit in the sweatpants pocket, and light enough where my pants don't end up sagging up into my knees. So there's a way to carry this. no matter what you're wearing. You can carry it inside of the waistband, concealed like this, no matter what you're wearing. You can carry it inside of any pocket, denim pants, sweatpants, whatever. If you're wearing something on it that has a string and pockets, you can carry it either inside of the string, inside the waistband, 3/6 all around, where you want it, or inside the pocket. Other ways you can carry this, and this I there's so many, my imagination is no limit. You can carry it inside of a boot, inside of a sock, inside of a sweatband on your arm. I call it assassin's carry, where you have a sweatband under your arm and then the knife under the sweatband, which means if you reach inside of your sleeve, you can pull the knife on the sweatband, which is a risky deployment because you're pulling a blade close to your skin, like this. But there's a wider ways to carry it. You could also carry it inside of you could carry it as a neck knife by attaching a string to it. You could have it around your neck, which would be my least favorite way to carry a knife. There's going to be a better way to carry a knife than around your neck, like a necklace. It's like a neck knife that's designed as a neck knife, and mainly it's going to be light and small enough to be able to carry around your neck. There's a better way to carry it than around your neck. Okay, so neck knives are better carried in the pocket. Okay, neck knives are better carried in the pocket or in the waistband than around the neck. But neck knives typically are designed to be light enough and small enough to be able to carry them as a necklace, like feasibly, without it being like nigh impossible. So a neck knife is better carried in your pocket. The way the neck knives were intended to be carried is in your pocket, and the neck knife goes in your opponent's neck. Okay, that's where the neck comes in. The neck knife, self-defense neck knife, it's for your pocket and the enemy's neck. Okay, so that it goes to your enemy's neck, not yours. So it's like the and I don't think there's anybody could come and leave a quality argument as a comment on this video why a folding knife is better. From what I've seen, I haven't owned a cold steel folding knife, so I can't speak from experience there. I can speak from general experience with folding knives versus fixed blade knives in general. But I know that a fixed blade knife is going to be stronger 9 out of 10 times than a folding knife. Now, Cold Steel is a company that works really hard, and they have been worked to design the folding knives to be strong. And that's like one of the things that they market themselves with, that they have folding knives that are really strong for a folding knife design. I still believe that a fixed blade knife from Cold Steel is going to be stronger than a folding knife from Cold Steel. Meaning the same model, if they have a Cold Steel Recon Tanto folding version and fixed blade version, I believe that the fixed blade version is going to be stronger than the folding. Okay, and I will pick that one. So a fixed blade knife advantages: it's stronger, it's simple design, less moving parts. It's a closed system, which means a folding knife is an open system. There's a blade that's gonna swing, there's gonna be an opening, which means since it's an open system, things can get into the system. Meaning anything from pebbles to twig to dirt. So it's easy to have a malfunction due to things getting into the open system, and it's harder to clean. I mean, it's not just why something get caught in the interview, the deployment or something. It's harder to clean it. So if I use this knife to open a pack of hot dogs or something like this, so just a piece of hot dog that gets on the handle, it's easy to clean it. But if it's a folding knife and a piece of meat gets in there, in the mechanism, it's harder to clean it. And it'd be like raw meat in there, and it'd be smelling. It's like it's harder to clean it. If something gets in there you don't want it, it's hard to get it out. So a folding knife is a dirt trap more than a fixed blade knife is. So if you're looking for a knife, my recommendation is get a fixed blade knife. That's the simple. Get a fixed blade knife. If you're looking to get a knife for a weapon, for an outdoors knife, for a survival knife, for a tool knife, get a fixed blade one. It'd be hard to justify why you need a folder over a fixed blade knife. You go, well, I need a knife for self-defense, a fighting knife that I can carry on, easily carryable. that's also an effective weapon. Well, there's going to be a fixed blade knife that lives up to that standard, that requirement. Like this Cold Steel Mini Leather knife, for example. That's small enough and light enough to carry on you, while being big enough to be an effective weapon. So, the age-old, more or less, debate. And it's not really that old, because in the Middle Ages they didn't have folding knives and swords things like this, to my knowledge. If they did, it'd be fringe, not common. So fixed blades versus folders. Go for a folder's recommendation. No, go for a fixed blade. A fixed blade beats a folder 9 out of 10 times. Now here's what I would say too. If you are hell bent and like fixated, like you are, I'm gonna get a fixed blade knife. That's what I'm gonna pick. Period. A fixed blade, not a folder. No, a folder, not a fixed blade. Now it becomes important what type of folder you buy, because folders are a weaker design. So some companies like Cold Steel, they have been working hard to make the strongest folders that they can, and then testing it and putting them to the test in videos, things like this. So if you're going for a folder, now it becomes important what type of folder, okay, and the brand can matter. So if you go for a folder, it becomes more important what type of folder you buy, because folders are notoriously less strong than fixed blade knives. So it becomes more important to pick a folder that's really strong for a folder, see, which I would believe by the evidence that I've seen that Cold Steel has a strong folder knives, including like the torture test when they put a new folder mod they have 3 spaces, put in a vise and like bend it, and they show you can bend this far, doesn't snap off. You can do this with it. And it's like, I don't have reason to believe that they're faking this video somehow with AI or something like this. So I can't speak to experience to Cold Steel folders. I can speak from general experience by having folders and owning fixed blade Cold Steel knives. Okay. So I've never owned a folding Cold Steel knife. And if I did buy one, I wouldn't be interested in torture testing it. Okay, I'd be interested in not trying my hardest to break it, because the point of torture testing is testing the part until it breaks, and to learn what the point of breaking is. And then why it go this far until something wrong or something like this. Or a lot of times that's what it boils down to, like how much can this deal with, and you push to the point where it breaks, and now you know what the point is. So that's the point. I like fixed blade knives. I prefer fixed blades over folders. So my recommendation for people looking to get a knife, get a fixed blade knife. Okay, get a fixed blade knife. Get a shotgun. Get a 410 shotgun. You don't need an AR-15 with 30 rounds. You get a 410 shotgun, single shot 410 shotgun. That's all you need for that's the job. That's the point. Get a shotgun. Get a fixed blade. That's the job. So fixed blade knives are better than folded knives 9 out of 10 times. Not 10 times. That doesn't mean the folders suck and it's a horrible design, but fixed blades are better. In 9 out of 10 ways, 9 out of 10 times, for 9 out of 10 purposes, a fixed blade knife is superior to a folder. It's stronger, it's simpler, less moving parts, it's a closed system, which means it's not an open system. An open system is vulnerable to penetration by foreign objects. Meaning if it's an open system, things can get into the system. And there's moving parts of it need to be moving freely. So if things get into the open system, around, in front of, the moving parts need to be freely moving, that can make the parts need to be freely moving less freely moving. Okay, they can interfere with the movement of the moving parts need to be freely moving. Okay, range from less to complete cessation of part movingness. So here's the point. A fixed blade beats a fold 9 out of 10 times. Go for a fixed blade. That's my recommendation. For 9 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 purposes, 9 out of 10 people, 9 out of 10 ways, a fixed blade knife is better. And reiterating my old argument, people go, well, a fixed blade is better because I can get a knife that's an effective weapon that's small and easy to carry. There's going to be a fixed blade knife that fits that description. That's effective as a weapon, big enough to be an effective weapon deployed, while being small, light enough for you to have it on at all times, like easily carryable. So is it true that a folding knife is more readily carryable? Not leaving it that, yes, if your metric for judgment is length of blade, total package length, having this big of a knife in your hand post-deployment, contrasted to pre-deployment size. The fixed blade knife wins, whereas not a folding knife. Whereas a fixed blade knife, it has the same size, so it's this big deployed hold in your hand, and it's gonna be the same big, the same size, non-deployed carried. Okay. So if you need a knife that's holding it, it's this big, and while being like, how big is it carried? Well, it's this small carried and this big expanded. So I want this long of a knife that's easily carryable and the small spot. Well, okay, it's going to be smaller carried contrasted to how big it is deployed. So the fixed blade knife is going to win that competition. No, the folding knife. But a fixed blade knife beats a folding knife 9 or 10 times. Speaker called I got a spear. They got a spear, a new spear for you buy a spear, you can mount it. It's easily mountable for an improvised spear, which looks interesting to me. And that I can speak to it from experience because I didn't handle it. I can judge well just by sight. Like, well, the shape, just look at a thumbnail. This shape lends itself to good penetration. This is the weight. It's like less than 500 grams. Let's say, well, it's light enough that it will be nimble and easily to not go by the stats and the visual. I didn't handle it, but that looks interesting. And it has, let's look at this actually. Let's look at it here. The Cold Steel Spirit, aka the Boom Handle Spear. This is a recent upload on Cold Steel's YouTube channel. The Cold Steel Spirit, aka the Boom Handle Spear.
Is the Cold Steel Spirit a double?
And let's look at it, analyze it. What we have working right now. I'm not looking at numbers or weight and sizes it is. So this shape lends itself to good penetration. So this shape of blade, okay, screams good penetration, okay. This shape of blade, this steel being shaped like this is a shape that's good at penetrating. If you want to design something that is good at penetrating, penetrates with ease, slides into a body and is effective, like force applied to penetration ratio, this shape is ranging from near optimal to optimal. This is a good shape for, if you're gonna make a piece of steel, what shape do you pick for it to be good at penetrating, sliding into a body easily? This is a good shape, okay? Also, look at the edge. This has a wide edge part of steel, okay? So it's the flat art here, it starts taping to an edge here, which is stronger and can be better in a lot of ways than if you would have just a small edge here. Like this, it's good basically. Another detail which I notice here, unlike like middle age bow hunting spears and stuff, some spears have like a backstop on it, which will keep you from going deeply. So with this shape, you can get deeper penetration than the length of the blade, meaning a lot of fixed blade daggers and daggers in general have a finger guard. So this can stop the penetration at some point. If you stab this into an arm, at the finger guard, the knife will stop penetrating. This acts like a brake. When you hit this point, it becomes a lot harder for it to penetrate, which is not a really huge issue. It's like the blade is supposed to be long enough to, in of itself, this length of blade can deliver deep wound. And this is long enough to deliver deep wound, even if it stops at the finger guard. Now, with the absence of a finger guard, this is an aerodynamic shape, which means there's nothing stopping this. So if you have a broom handle here, you can penetrate the length of blade and further, meaning this shape here and this shape, you can penetrate deeper than the length of blade. See? So if you stab this into torso, it can get this deep and it can keep traveling easily. There's nothing stopping it. There's no finger guard or anything here where it becomes less aerodynamic. It's like slippery all the way through. So if you stab this deep, you can slide this part, so you can get this deep into the body. See, there's nothing. It's a frictionless, it's a hydrodynamic, aerodynamic shape, which means, unlike some spears and knives, it doesn't have a finger guard where there's nothing here that if you get this deep, it becomes suddenly a lot harder to slide. It's slippery all the way through, and this part is narrower than this part. So if you penetrate in here, you can easily slide all the way down here. So you can get this much penetration, potentially, and there's nothing stopping the thrust. See? So it doesn't go here, and then it's stopped by something here. So, judging by the visuals, I like it. And you could improvise. Another thing you can do with this, it can be good as a survival knife if you go into the woods, because all you need to do is carry the tip of the spear into the woods, and you're gonna be able to find a stick that you can mount it to. There's gonna be a stick that you can mount it to, and if it's a little bit too thick, you can use the spear tip to narrow it, things like this. So you can carry the spear tip, find a spear handle for it if needs be. Meaning, as a survival knife, it's gonna be light. I have looked the stats, but I can tell it's gonna be light enough, and you're gonna be able to. Then, if you bring that into the woods, instead of bringing a whole spear into the woods, you can bring this, and you can find a stick in the woods that fits it. And if you find one that almost fits, like, oh, I found a stick that's 2 meters long, that's what I want for the length of the handle, but it's a little bit too thick, you can use the spear tip to shave it off and make it narrower for you to mount it. So, yeah, it looks good. And here's the thing too. Notice how this shape looks like a bullet too, which is the shape on object designed to penetrate and be aerodynamic. So this is an aerodynamic object, hydrodynamic, which means, and these are the same things. If a submarine is designed to be slippery through the water and offer little resistance to the water, an airplane is designed to be aerodynamic, slippery through the air and offer little resistance to the air. See? So what is aerodynamic is hydrodynamic, slippery through water, slippery through air, offers little resistance. So this shape makes it effective at moving through air, offering little resistance as an object, and through water, which also applies to general whatever it's traveling through, tissue, fat, muscle. This shape is offering little resistance. It has enough strength and size, the object, to be strong enough to be able to survive passing through a material offering some resistance. Sharp and point enough, big enough, while being shaped in a way that makes it offer little resistance as it's traveling through something, which means it's hydrodynamic, which means it's aerodynamic. And what is aerodynamic is hydrodynamic. A submarine, if you look at the design, is designed to be slippery through the water, offer little resistance. Less horsepower used to push this object through water. See? An airplane is designed to be aerodynamic, offers little resistance as possible, moving through the air. So what is aerodynamic is hydrodynamic. Traveling through fluid, traveling through air. Ballistics gel, temporary wound channel, hydro. So, anyways, the point. It's a good shape. It's designed to be good at penetrating, and I didn't handle it, so all I can speak to is what I can see. It might also lend itself to a throwing knife if I would have to make an intuitive guess on it, because it has a hollow plastic handle, I suspect, for so you can put on a stick. A hollow handle, and it has steel at the tip, which most likely point of balance, point of weight be closer toward the tip than the end of the handle, which lends itself to throwing. It's heavier at the tip than at the handle, which means the point of weight it wants to pull with the tip forward. So that's most likely it's going to be better than some other knives, like a full tang fixed blade fighting knife. This is most likely going to be easier to throw effectively, to use as a throwing weapon. There's so much into throwing. What else? Obviously, you could use it as is, like this, in your hand with the thumb at the bottom. Another thing you can do, if you're like a martial artist and you want to try double spears, you can buy two of them, mount one on each side of the boom handle. See, you could get two of them, get a boom handle, mount one on each tip. So you have a double-sided spear. It's like some martial artists like using both tips of it. You can stab like this, slash like this. You can stab here. Obviously, you can mount one on each side of a stick. You have a double spear. Now that's dangerous, okay? If you have it for home defense, you have to be aware somebody might be behind you with the one stab. So if you stab it forward and retract it to stab again, you're also stabbing behind yourself. It's all these things where a lot of times it's unnecessary to have two tips of a spear. This knife you can make a spear out of it too. Now a knife that's designed to be a spear tip is going to be better at being a spear tip than a knife that's forced into spear tip use 9 or 10 times. One reason is if you mount this on a spear, it will be a bit offset. So it's harder to be accurate with it, and the balance is a little bit off. Whereas if you have a straight stick and a spear that's lining up with the stick, it makes it easy to be accurate, it makes the balance and handling easier. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, I watched a video before, my computer video. They talked about spears and hunting. Spears can be used in hunting, defense, this and that. And he mentioned how in hunting spears are used sometimes from a tree, which makes sense. Where you put some food or something next to the tree, you sit in the tree in a stand with a spear and throw the weapon down on it. Another advantage if you're hunting dangerous game, like a bear. I've seen people on YouTube hunting bears with a spear. Is if you hit the bear, like you put some food as bait next to the tree and you sit there, it's 8 hours later a bear shows up and you throw it and it gets wounded and the bear is like mad because he threw a spear at it. If you're on the ground and the bear turns around like, ow, and turns around and sees you there, okay? Oh, this is a guy who attacked me. He's coming for you, okay? And a bear is fast, okay? And in a wrestling match, you don't want to be a human in a bear wrestling match. One thing you want to be in a bear wrestling match is a bear, first of all. Okay? You don't want to be a human in a bear wrestling match, okay? Because they're not going to care about like sports rules like weight classes and like they're armed with like claws and you're not, as it is. So another advantage during a tree is you throw the spear down. If the bear gets hit, it's going to take some while till it dies. It takes more time and effort for him to climb up to get you in the tree than if you're on ground, you can turn around and get you. It's harder for it to, while hit with a spear, climb up a tree and get you. And he might have bled out and be like too very weakened at that point, versus if you're on ground level. So I know in Texas and some other places they hog hunt with spears. They hunt hogs, like wild hogs with spears, which is also dangerous because they have tusks and they can hurt you with the tusks. And sometimes hunters hunt with firearm as the primary, and they have a dispatching knife like a dagger for killing, like a coup de grace. If they shoot an animal and it's not that quickly and they get close up, they can finish it with a spear, not with a dagger knife, a spear tooth knife. Anyway, I gotta finish up. I prefer fixed blade knives, and people are not gonna be able to change my mind. I prefer fixed blade knives, and in my view, you're better off getting a fixed blade knife for whatever. Outdoors, want to get a knife for outdoors, want to get a knife for self-defense, want to get a knife for whatever the intended purpose is. There's a fixed blade knife that can get the job done, and a fixed blade knife, the benefits outweigh the downsides. I don't really like fixed blade knives. Another thing with fixed blade knives is you risk inadvertent collapsing of it. Where if you use it as a fighting knife and you stab this way, you apply force this way, you risk that the blade will close on your fingers if you're using it as a fighting knife. Now that risk decreases if you pick the right folding knife. So I do believe that Cold Steel most likely has stronger folding knives than most of the competition, like other knife manufacturers. Now I still believe that the Cold Steel fixed blade knives are going to be stronger than the folding knives. I mean, if they have a Cold Steel Recon Tempto fixed blade version and folding version, I believe that the fixed blade is going to be stronger than the folding knife. Now, stronger doesn't mean what you compare it to is weak, but stronger, okay? So a fixed blade knife can be strong enough, but still it's an open system, dirt can get into more moving parts, not as strong, okay? So if you're strength maxing, you want the strongest knife you can get, you're better off picking a fixed blade knife. Whereas a folding knife can be strong enough. If I want the strongest possible, you pick a fixed blade knife. So fixed blade knives are the best as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna finish up. Fixed blade knives versus folders. Mike Saha. What do you call it? Yes, okay. Swords, fixed blade versus folders. My take. I was looking at a Cold Steel knife yesterday, this one. Similar to what I already have. I was looking at it, just window shop, I did order. I was looking at it. And yeah, I like window shop, I look it nice sometimes. Sometimes I start window shop and then 6 months later buy it. So I gotta finish it. That's the fixed blade knife like here. I was carrying tonight when I made this video. Had in the strap band pocket. I just want to be careful with this because if you drop it, it's porn enough and has enough weight where it can get into your leg if you drop on the bag. So this is a Cold Steel mini leather neck. Also, what I call it is the Cold Steel mini dagger because the dagger better not name is still dagger. So I call it Cold Steel mini dagger because that's what it is. Like they could rename it and call it the Cold Steel mini whatever. A dagger better not name is still dagger. So Cold Steel mini dagger is a Cold Steel mini dagger. So if you call something else a dog, you call Bob, it's still a dog. So this is a miniature dagger. It's a mini dagger. And if you call the mini leather neck, I'm gonna call it mini dagger because I prefer mini dagger over leather neck. So this is a Cold Steel mini leather neck, and I call it Cold Steel mini dagger because that's what it is. And I like it. There's different grips. So one grip you can use is this, where you have these knuckles lining up with the blade like this, and the thumb at the side, and it has like a little thumb rest here, a flattened surface. Another way is having the thumb at the back finger board, or beneath, like this, with the pink at the bottom. Another way you can cure it, or grip it rather, is with the thumb here, and the sides of the blade lining up with the sides of your thumbnail, like this. See? Like this. So you can cure it like this, and here's my favorite for a lot of knives, for fighting knife technique and whatever. This thumb at the bottom. You could have it thumb at the bottom and then water it however you want it. You could have it thumb at the bottom like this, or thumb at the bottom like this. Thumb at the bottom like this can give you a little bit more resistance for downward slashes, thrust rather. And obviously you can cut like this. And if you look at the size of it, what I say, it's small enough, light enough to carry it on, but big enough to be an effective weapon. So if you look at my neck, I don't have a pencil neck. This is how deep you can get into the person's neck. See? So here's the side of my neck. There's the finger guard. Then you can get it there. Carotid artery is about this deep. Windpipe is here. Spine is in the line in the back, which means it's big enough to reach the spine from omnidirectional, from 360. From any side standing to the neck, you can reach the spine. It's long enough to reach the spine with a thrust. Like the neck, okay, the spine. From the front, from here. Give it enough force, you can reach the spine. It's long enough to reach the spine. If you enter in here, like all around. Obviously from the back, the spine is about this close to the skin. So it's long enough to reach major blood vessels in the neck, carotid artery, jugular, windpipe, spine, from whatever side you're stabbing. It's long enough to reach major blood vessels all over the body. So it's long enough to be able to deliver mortal wounds, and it has 2 cutting sides, which means you can slash with it. So I like this knife. It's small enough to kill, easily concealable, readily carryable, and big enough to be a problem. So, deployment methods, one-handed deployment. So carrying it like this in the pen pocket, sweatpant pocket. You can deploy it one-handed, getting hand in pocket. Here's the technique, simple. 2 fingers, these 2 fingers, on each side of the sheet. So it's held like this, see, and it's open. Using these 2 fingers to push down on the sheet, and it frees the blade. Simple, one-handed. So like this, another way to carry it is to use the holes here, landing holes, then attach it to a belt or something. All you need to do is grab and pull. Now it's simple enough, no matter how you're carrying it. You don't have the sheet attached or anything. All you need to get the handle. If it's out here or not, you use 2 fingers with the drawing whip. You can free the sheet off, remove the sheet off. And obviously there's other ways like one-handed deployment. There's something you can play around with. Use as a fidget spinner and learn quickly. And don't try to see it being really hard. So it's the pinky release. So you just with the pinky. So I have this grip. Just push down with the pinky and feed it. So you can use gravity to help. So this is a 1 finger. So if I have it like this, for example, and I pull it, and the sheet is there, I can push down with the pinky to free it, which is the hardest way to free from this grip. Obviously, you can assist with the left hand, grab the sheet, and that's a more reliable deployment method. It's like harder to mess that up. It's easy to get that up. So 2-handed deployment is 1 hand on the handle, 1 hand on the sheet, and then pull. 1-hand deployment. Still simple. Get the hand on the handle. You can do this in the pocket, out of the pocket. 2 fingers, push on the sheet. That works. So I don't really need it to the sheet to be attached to something, so it offers resistance, and then you pull. You can find a way to mount it like that in your belt using the landing holes attached to the belt. So the sheet is stuck and you can use pull to free it. Now, with it loose like this in a pocket, all you need is to get a normal grip on it, and then use these two fingers to push down, and it's free. See? And from here, the next movement can be push forward, like here, or here, or here. So I like a fixed blade knife. I gotta finish up.